Hello and welcome to another episode of Thursdays with Tracy. I'm glad you all joined me today. And for the last couple of weeks, I've been doing some interviews, and I didn't have anyone to interview for this week. So I thought, why not interview some of the people who I sort of know but kind of don't know? So we're going to actually have two guests on tonight, and I'm going to bring my first one on, and hopefully we'll have like a good conversation. Just to note, remember to like, share, subscribe, comment, and support us on Patreon. The link will appear every now and then. And we're going to bring on our first guest. His name is Theus Robinson, and I'll let him tell us more about himself. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hey, how you doing, Tracy?
I'm doing fine. I'm here and I'm doing great.
Well, thank you for allowing me to join with you tonight. Hopefully, we'll have a really good conversation here. So, not a whole lot to say about me. Just a concerned citizen. I guess we'll put it that way. Um, it's so much going on, and my direct focus is specifically or targeted with respects to the Black community as well as the working class as a whole, right? So that brings me really far into politics because politics is how the resources are shared, right? So that's the game that's in town. So you got to be able to play that game, and I'm just so frustrated with the way the game's being played.
Yeah, I told you before we got on this show, audience, I want you all to know I'm not here for these here games this evening. I am still upset that Nina lost. I knew that the establishment Democrat could swing low, but for some dumb reason, I didn't think they would go as low as they did. I feel like I missed something. I'm like, what did I miss? I'm like, okay, you're not progressive. You're not for Medicare for all. You're not for $15 wage. I feel like I missed something, and I don't know what it is that I missed.
Well, I think what I adore Nina Turner. I I'm in Georgia, so she's not directly in my line of sight, so to speak. But I've been watching her ever since what 2000 and was it 14, um, and it's just my expectations were a little different. I really hoped that she was going to win. She's clearly the best for the role. In fact, I would love to see her in the Senate. Um, but I also knew that she is shaking tables and she is disturbing the dust, so to speak. And so they were going to definitely mount a full campaign against her. And that's exactly what happened. Now, I'm not entirely disenfranchised or overly frustrated with her loss because she just showed how close we really were. I mean, they had to really pull out all the stops to get her, right? They really had to go after her. So she is part of that vanguard that's building the infrastructure that is going to put us in a position where we will be able to fight harder and better. But so long as we got gatekeepers like old Clyburn.
Oh, you just had to do. You had, see, I was doing good. I had drank a cup of water to get myself calmed down, and now you got my blood pressure out. He did it again. He did this with Bernie. He did this with Nina. Why are black people specifically listening to him? I'm like, he's for none of what you say you want. Why? Again, I feel like I'm missing something.
I think the part that a lot of people are missing is what Clyburn appeals to. Clyburn is the safe Negro. All right. So he's the one that harkens back to his days as a firebrand or someone who actually spoke for the people 40 years ago. And people are holding to that. And the group that most identifies with Clyburn are Clyburn's age. They are our boomer generation. They are the ones who they desire change, but really they want safety and something that they can plan or anticipate, right? So that's
Right.
just kind of what happens as we, get older. So if he appeals to that demographic of black folks, which is also the group of us who still have money, um, but if he appeals to that group votes, okay? That group has relationships. But then here's one more thing that Clyburn presents. Clyburn is also that gatekeeping Negro. He's the one that has proven himself safe and acceptable to people like Nancy Pelosi. So he's able to bridge the gap, so to speak. My problem mainly with him is one, he's been there too long. So his replacement, I want to know who that is, because to me, leadership is you need to be grooming your replacement, right? Because you understand that going into leadership is not always. So you go in, you do the work, but you find a protege that'll be ready to assume your spot. But these old politicians aren't doing that. They're going to hold these spots until they literally go away. And that is what Nina ran into, in my
Yep.
opinion.
Okay, so we got our second guest on here, and he's appeared on our show before. And Marlon, I'm going to bring him on here. Okay, hello, Marlon.
What's up?
Marlon.
What's up, guys?
You, sir, are echoey.
Oh, am I?
Yes. You are echoey.
All right, take me down real quick.
Okay, so we're going to remove Marlon and bring him back when he puts his headphones on. So, and I guess when I was looking at this election, I've never worked so hard for somebody that's not in my district. Usually when I make campaign donations, the two people that I've made donations for, they were both within my state. But this time I felt like, okay, we can do this. She's for Medicare for all. Her area is progressive. But then I start hearing that only 17% of eligible voters turned out. And that really, you can't really win with that type of number. There's no way you're going to win when 83%, if I can add right, 83% decide, you know what, I'm done, I'm not voting. So, again, I was highly frustrated. I'm looking at 2022. I don't see a progressive that can just take the wings and say, okay, this is us, and this is what we're going to do. I don't see that leadership quality. I just kind of see them all as like, okay, I'll send out a tweet, or I'll make a ruckus, and then I'll go away. And I don't know, maybe I was putting too much on Nina, but that's what I saw her as. As somebody that can say, yeah, I'm taking this over, get behind me, and here I go.
Yeah, but to stand up on stage, someone needs to build the stage. And what we're missing is there's not enough infrastructure behind people like Nina, right? So when she goes out there, she's effectively going out there alone and against a really big headwind. I don't want to be Debbie Downer, but my concern is 17%, but it was also a mid-cycle election.
Yes.
So in a mid-cycle election, you're only going to have like operatives, like people like us who just absorb politics. Those are the ones who are going to turn out. Or seniors are going to turn out. Well, seniors are generally more conservative than the youth. And Nina's opponent was backed by the conservative corporate wing of the Democratic Party. So she automatically had that up against her. In order to win, and she came close-ish, but in order to win, she would have needed much more of a groundswell. Well, what has the Democratic Party done to make it so that groundswell isn't there? See, this is where my contention comes in. For me, the Democratic Party is the only game in town right now for black, brown, young, anybody who's not essentially establishment white. Okay. So to get more people involved, they are looking at the Democratic Party and they're saying, well, where are my deliverables? What has the party done to show me that it's my vote matters? See, the once again, the party has squandered an opportunity. The Democrats are great at like delivering defeat when they have a clear win. They're like the Atlanta
Yes.
Falcons of politics. Okay.
Yes.
So when we just had tremendous energy, mainly because they were trying to get rid of Trump. Now, because of trying to get rid of Trump, you got more black people, more young people, more Latinos. You even had Asians crossing over. You had everyone focused on getting Trump out. And
Right.
because of that, where I'm at in Georgia, we got 2 Democratic senators. That right there was the opportunity for the party to listen to the progressives, to listen to the young people, and say, we hear you. We're going to put some of you in positions of actual authority so that, unlike what we did with Bernie the first go around, where once we crushed him, we also got rid of everything that supported him, right? We're listening. That would have kept some energy. They didn't do
Right.
that.
Yep.
So who's coming out? Who's excited to vote for a Democrat right now?
Yeah, I'm gonna answer your question, but I'm gonna bring Marlon back on because it looks like he has his headphones on. Hello, Marlon.
Okay, does this sound a little better?
A little better. Yes, you're not
Okay.
echoing as much. Okay, so to
Okay.
answer your question, Theus, the Democratic Party didn't want anything that progressives want, and I'll tell you how I know this. So if you watch the town hall meeting with Joe Biden where he was on CNN, and Don Lemon specifically said it's going to take the filibuster to get the voters for the People Act passed. And Joe Biden said, well, if you get rid of the filibuster, that'll be chaos. Are you serious? Are you seriously going to say that? And don't start me on the $2,000 checks that somehow turned into $1,400 checks. My contingent is the established Democrats. They'll say progressive things, but they have no intention of doing them once they get into office.
What what I'm actually beginning to see is, and Biden said it himself, which was absolutely stupid for him to actually say, was Texas have passed the voter suppression bill after a 15-hour filibuster. So there's your filibuster at work. It doesn't work. So what Biden thinks is, one, the Democrats right now that we have in office ain't doing jack. But two, do you want the black community to jump through more hoops to vote these people back in? It ain't going to happen. It's just not going to happen. The Democrat Party right now is not giving us absolutely positively no reason. One, we've already jumped through hoops. That's how you got into office to begin with.
Exactly.
It ain't like it was easy the first go around. You done made it harder in Texas, in Georgia, and probably by the time 2022 roll around, a couple of more other states. But you done made it harder for the black community to. It was hard enough as it was. 11 hours in line to vote in Georgia. Now you want to try to make it harder to vote you back into office in 2022, where you have absolutely showed us no reason to do so.
It's exactly right. Like Thea said, the Democratic Party, I call them the Washington Generals, that team that always loses to the Harlem Globetrotters, because that's exactly who they are. They can snatch defeat out of the jaws of victory better than anybody else I know. Theus, what you thinking on that?
I always like to reach back to who inspires me, most influential from my past, and that's Stokely Carmichael or Kwame Ture, and that's Malcolm X, right? Two of the standard bearers for independent black thought. And Kwame always talked about you have to be able to organize. You have to be able to do something more than just mobilize. And what is happening right now is the black community is tired. But despite being tired, we will mobilize again. We will stand in the lines. We will still vote for the Democrats. We will do that. And the reason I say that we're going to do that is because, unlike almost any other group, we know what's next. Okay. Right now, they're putting up things to make it harder to vote. If we don't go out there and overwhelm the polls, then we won't be able to vote. And the problem is, this Democratic Party is so cynical that they know this. This is why they're able to do what they're doing, because they know where else are they going to go. Where I'm concerned is you have taken if there was a way to write out, here are the things to do to make sure that you demoralize the base that you need. The Democrats are doing it.
Exactly.
If you want to demoralize your base, then you don't stand up for the minimum wage increase when you know that the Black community is disproportionately represented at the lowest ends of the economic scale. If you want to demoralize the Black vote, then you make it so that you don't take meaningful action to intervene in police issues and put out some more, at least to do some consent decrees, bro. Do something, right? You don't even do that. You want to demoralize the Black community. You turn around and you intone, even though it's a non-binding resolution, for y'all out there, that is still a statement. Okay, that's like a pledge without a law. So you went out there and intoned the 94 crime bill, one of the few things that almost kept Biden from even getting the shot. And you used that and said, we want more police because we support the police. You're doing everything to make it harder for people like me to go around and tell my brothers and sisters that we still need to go out and vote because it matters.
Exactly. And I think the whole thing is by design. And I keep selling this idea because all you have to do is look at the inaction of this administration. Let's start at the beginning. The whole $2,000 check debacle. Joe Biden specifically said, if you elect me, $2,000 checks will be on the way. Well, that turned into $1,400. Lie number 2, I'm going to eliminate student loan debt, which he doesn't even need Congress to approve. He could just literally take out a pen, eliminate student debt, and that be it. He also campaigned on $15 minimum wage. The minimum wage is still $7.25. They never want to do these things, but yet and still, people of color are going to still keep voting for these type of nitwits because of the alternative. And it just frustrates me.
It's frustrating, but you got to here's how I try to look at it. This is a problem that's 400 years in the making, right? First, we had to fight for our humanity. Then we had to begin to try to fight for our rights. And we've been fighting for rights ever since. Still fighting for humanity too. All right. There's a lot of structure and concrete holding together what's obstructing us and getting in our way. That will not be fixed by 2 quick stutter bursts of energy. Won't happen. You're not going to fix all of this in 2 election cycles. You're not going to fix this in 4 election cycles. This is something where the Republicans never rest. They never stop. They're always moving. Even when it looks like they lose, they find a way to take over all the states. Right?
Right. So, it's like they know how to use their powers for evil. Like, you can't, they will not talk bad about each other. It doesn't matter how stupid Trump is, they'll just, okay, this is it, let's go.
But it's easy for them. Think about it. The Republican Party is what, like 95% homogenous?
Yes, sure is.
The Democratic Party is highly diverse.
Yes.
It's like half white, and then you got like almost all the Black people, and then you got like more than half of the Latinos. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's a lot of voices in the Democratic Party.
Right.
And the Republicans, or conservatives, are driven by emotion. They react to fear. They react to stimulus. But the Democrats We function more off of facts, figures, what it can be attained, what are my needs, what are my grievances. You can't message that easily to us. But the least you could do is fight.
Exactly. Marlon, you look like you want to say something. Jump right on
Oh
in there.
no, I would agree with both of y'all. Is that the Democratic Party? It just comes off as the Democratic Party knows what they're supposed to do, but and this is gonna sound wrong, but I can't think of a better way of saying it. The Democratic Party wants to do the right thing and they want to do it fairly. And you're going against a group of people, the conservatives, who ain't playing that game. They have never played that game and they never will play that game. When the conservatives have something that they want to go through, it's going to go through. They don't care if it looks bad. They don't care if it looks evil. They don't care if it looks sinister. We don't got to the point they don't even care if white supremacy is on point right now. They don't care what it looks like because they know that the Democratic Party, unfortunately, we always got to take the higher ground. We always got to do the right thing. We always got to say the right thing. We always got to go through the right channels. And it doesn't work. The reason I even got into this situation to begin with, and I told you, Tracy, was because of, oh, how could I forget his name? Use my words against me. There is no way in the world. Lindsay, thank you. There is no way use my words against me. There is no way that a president that has 1 year should be able to put somebody in the Supreme Court. You had him on tape. And what did he do? Voted somebody to the Supreme Court less months. Trump was in office for months, not a year, months. You had him on tape. They don't care about playing fair.
I'm about to say something that's really, hopefully it's not too controversial for what I'm about to say. But Marlon, you've heard me say this before. My politics are black. My politician does not have to be. If you want to see us move forward, we have to look at how does an army or a force that is outnumbered still manage to fight and win. All you have to do is look at the conservatives.
Yes.
They are a minority ruling a majority. Okay? Because all like right now, I think this something in the neighborhood of 62% of the country is white, but they're not all on the same accord. They really break down almost 50-50. Okay? So we're only dealing with maybe 40-50%. Now, they understand that they're losing market share, and they don't care if you catch them in a lie. They don't care if you have it on video. They don't care when they kill us and show it on video. I mean, you really think they care if you've got a politician saying it on video? Whatever. We have to learn that it's not about the appearance, it's about what you actually achieve. And that's the game they play. That's the game we need to play. See, we keep wanting to go find the noble hero without spot or blemish and send him off into battle against the raging hordes. And they just want the raging hordes.
Exactly. That is so true. That is so true. Look how easily Trump won the Republican nomination. It was like the lowest bar. Just say Mexicans are rapists and murderers. Be accused of sexually assaulting several women. You think they cared about that when they voted for Trump? No, they did. That is an excellent, excellent point. But I wanted to move on to my next subject, and I know you guys don't live in New York, but Governor Cuomo, finally, somebody got to him and said, yes, sir, please resign. And he is leaving office the 14th, or is it going to be the 15th? One of those 2 days.
It's 14 days from 2 days ago.
I don't care.
I don't. I got to leave real quick, but I let me say this real quick then, because the question that was asked to me was, well, why do you think it happened so fast? And honestly, I was dumbfounded that it happened as fast as it did. I thought he would hold on for as long as it is. And what I got, you have to remember that this allegation is one, this investigation, I should say, by the by the New York Attorney General. This is one of 3 investigations.
Yep.
This is just one of 3. So basically, I tell you, like I told my wife, he's not leaving, in my opinion, he's not leaving because of the sexual allegations. The sexual allegations was just the final straw. That was it, folks. He couldn't take no more. That was strike 3, however you want to put it. There was no way in the world that he was going to be able to go through the sexual allegations, the cutting the numbers for the nursing homes, the deaths by 50%, reporting the nursing home deaths by 50%, and which is a little tidbit of a situation, but using government materials to publish his book. I don't even know how the book is doing, and I'm pretty sure it sucks now, but this was strike 3 for him. So he had to go. This was just too much for him to take.
I wonder how that the media they latched on to the sexual harassment, but they completely skipped that people died in nursing homes because he cut hospitals for budgets. I'm like, hey, y'all totally missed that.
They didn't miss it. It's like in America, sex crimes are not real crimes as far as the public is concerned. Like, it's enough to get you fired. It's enough to embarrass you. It's enough to do all those things. Like, it sells. Controversy sells. But if they tried to focus too much on the nursing home thing, there's no 2 sides to that story, right? There's no conflict for them to sell, because what's on the other side? Trump and 640,000 dead people, right? So that's what's going to nail him, I think, because there's paperwork behind that, but it wasn't going to be what would keep him in the news. And then I look at the sexual harassment thing, and I'm like, look, I know people are saying you got Matt Gaetz, who's a whole predator out there, and you got Trump, who's a whole predator out there, but the Democrats are willing to serve up Cuomo. Yeah. The question is, did you do it? If you did it, I don't care what the other guy did. You did it.
Yeah, but you know what? I got thoughts about that too, because you skipped one person's name. You skipped one person in all those names. You forgot all about Joe Biden's sexual harassment allegations and how the Democrats said, you know what? Somehow they turned into MAGA fans. And I always contend that blue MAGA is way worse than red MAGA. Because it was, we had the whole Time's Up movement. And it's time's up for sexual harassment, etc. They came out and said, yeah, we believe all these women that accused Trump. But as soon as Biden got accused, oh, well, why did she wait so long? Well, it turns out she didn't wait so long. And so that whole, whole cloud of we're always right and we can't ever do wrong. Yes, they served up Cuomo, but that's just one example. They have others that they were just like, okay.
Well, that brings us back to the cultural thing I was saying as far as how sex crimes are really considered. But then I didn't follow Biden on that particular piece too tight because I was too busy on some of the more racial issues. But if I recall, the lady that was front and center on the Biden thing, like there was a lot of issues with her backstory, right? But even so, even if he is, like, let's say Biden is a sexual deviant, and let's say that Cuomo is, and let's say that Matt Gaetz is, and let's say that Donald Trump is, each of those stand alone.
Exactly. Right? I agree.
So if if Biden got away with it, it doesn't mean Cuomo should, because there are
Absolutely.
real people on the other side of this. And also, and I think it just needs to be always put out there that these things need to be worked their way through court. Like, people are losing their jobs off of the allegations before it becomes an actual what's the term when you're actually like charged? But
Uh,
anyway, conviction, right?
yes.
So that's I always will have that one because it's just these people are losing their positions off of the weight of the allegation.
I think
Okay.
my point was, I tell you, but I think my point was, in some instances, we want the person to be held accountable, like homo. But in
Mm-hmm.
other instances, we're just like, it was so many years ago. Can I really believe it? It's like we pick and choose who it is we want to believe at the time.
Every time.
And it's
Every
like,
time.
wait a minute, you can't hold Trump to one standard and Biden to another standard. If
But they're
he's
not. Biden. What trouble did Trump get in?
none, exactly none.
Same
He,
standard.
yep, that's true. And he
Rich
probably
white
got
guy.
more. Yep,
You know, rich
yeah,
white guy with handlers, and the difference between Cuomo and a Biden and a Trump is Biden was representing an entire brand. Trump was representing an entire brand, right? They are moving for the presidency and the standard bearer
that's
for a
true.
party. Cuomo is not that. Cuomo is a governor whose number two is also a Democrat and also a
Exactly,
woman. So,
that's true.
and it's his third term. Third
That
term
is
governors
true.
always get in trouble for something. So, yeah, it's okay to get rid of him. He was like, all right, you did your thing, you served our purpose. We've overlooked things that you've done for the last 2 terms. Now it's a little bit too stinky. You got to go.
Yeah, it's like we're gonna use you, and then when we get what we think we want, oh well. And
Yeah.
that stinks because I'm trying to encourage more people of who are more progressive minded or independent minded to run for office. But when you hear some of this stuff, it's like, why even run? Ugh, it's disgusting. I mean,
I wrestle with that myself because I look at it and now me, I have a pretty squeaky clean story, but I ain't perfect. You know what I'm saying? And on the Democratic side, they would never. It's you have to be a saint almost to do this, and it's kind of like I'm gonna bring up somebody that usually gets me in trouble. Barack Obama.
I'm not on this show because I called him I have a special word I call Obama, and I won't
So
say it live because YouTube will take out this term, but it starts with the word house, House.
well, I'm a little different there because I have a couple views on Old Barry. I think he
Okay.
he served his purpose as a symbol, and in our community, when you have, and this runs real deep. It's a whole nother discussion we probably have another time. But when you are a community that has been blocked from substance, you end up adding a great deal more value to symbols. So Barack Obama, the reason why he is so cherished is not because of the things that he did. It's because as a symbol, he did it and he did it well. No controversies, other than the fact, droning people all over the world.
Yeah, I was gonna
And
say,
you
yeah,
know,
killing
but
Syrian children.
right, right. But that's the American business plan. So that's Biden's doing that right now in Afghanistan, right? So um, that's fine. That's America's cottage industry. But somebody had said to me back when Barack Obama was like really, it was probably his first term. Politics is like climbing up excrement mountain. No matter how good you are, no matter how good a person you are, the people you have to interact with, the favors you have to curry, you will not get to the top of excrement mountain without getting some on you.
Exactly.
So you can't, to me, you can't look at a Barack Obama, you can't look at a Joe Biden, you can't look at a Hillary Clinton, you can't look at a Donald Trump. You cannot look at these people and expect them to be better than what you are. It's not fair. They can't, they're still human beings. What I'm looking for, like me, my kids laugh at me all the time. Sometimes I go for the villain, okay? Because the villain, I don't mean like in politics, but I mean like in movies. I go for the villain sometimes because the villain understands that sometimes you got to get into the dirt to lay the foundation for the building that everybody wants to stay in.
True. That
Right?
is so true.
We want to come in and just hang the drapes. We want to come in and decide where the couch goes. But who's willing to get out there when it's raining to lay the foundation? Right? Who's getting sweaty, bloody, and bruised, putting up the framing? Right? So, not to, and I'll ramble, so I apologize, but like it kind of brings me to like Fidel Castro in the Cuban Revolution. To rage a revolution, right? We're in the middle of a revolution, right? What we need anyway. We want the progressives to be part of a revolution, right? To wage a revolution, you need the type of leader that will go in there and will make unpopular decisions, that will make a mess of things when they have to, who will be uncompromising when they have to. They will be the most embarrassing person sometimes when they open their mouth. But what they're going to deliver for you is they're going to break down that system. They're going to put some things in place. And then the next person who follows can now decide what color the walls are going to be. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, exactly.
So right now we're trying to lay the foundation and not get dirty.
Yep, and you're going to have to get dirty.
Got to. So that's why when you look at the Republicans and why they rallied around Donald Trump, they were telling us the truth when they said they wanted somebody to go in there and mess some things up. So it didn't matter that he was an adulterer. It didn't matter that he was an abuser. Didn't matter he was a liar. Didn't matter any of those things. Because what did he do? He made the Democrats nervous. He made the Republicans nervous. He upset the global world order, right? He did the things they wanted him to do.
But he didn't do anything.
No,
Name one piece of legislation that he signed. I'm still like,
that's not what they wanted. That's not what they wanted. They wanted some tax cuts because that's what the Democrats and the Republicans wanted, right? They both wanted that. Because you notice the Democrats ain't trying to get rid of it too hard. So they both wanted that because they're rich people. That's what they do. But his job wasn't to really pass legislation. His job was to make such a mess and to show how weak and cravenly Congress and the rest of the government structure really is. So that when he's got the foundation laid, now DeSantis can come in. And he can keep his suit on. And he's not going to get as dirty because he knows what to say and what not to say. And when DeSantis is done, then you can have Hawley come in. See, it's all building towards something. We aren't ready to fight the real fight. We still want to pretend like the rules exist. And that's a losing hand.
But how do okay, so now here comes my question. Then how do we fight? How is it that what can the average, well, we don't have any viewers now, but once this is on replay, what can we do to fight?
I love the question. What we have to do is decentralize or unfocus ourselves from the national politic. What's happening on the federal level is important, okay? But they don't have the power that's really getting in your way.
Okay.
See, people who are disenfranchised with politics are watching the national show. They're watching Congress do nothing. They're watching the president talk and nothing happen. They're watching wars happen and no one can stop them. That's very disheartening, right? But where we need to help focus is people need to feel a win. They need the small wins. And the small wins is looking at, like me, I live in Gwinnett County. Gwinnett County has like 1 million registered voters. But in any given election outside of the presidential election, you will have maybe 20,000 voters deciding an election. That's a lot of wiggle room. So if you want to have criminal justice reform, that's when you, I'm going to intone my hero, Kwame Ture, again. That's where you have to organize. That's where you take people and you say, hey, this is a person running for district attorney. We're going to go and we're going to all vote against that person for district attorney. And I want you to watch what happens when 10,000 of us go and vote for this person for district attorney. Now you actually saw tangibly that your vote mattered. See, what Georgia just did and got squandered is it showed a lot of people their vote matters. But then they started watching the national show. And the Republicans play local. So, what's happening in Texas? Who's writing these laws? Who's writing these laws that's messing us up left and right? State legislatures.
Exactly.
That ain't Congress. All right? So, you help people take over the state offices, take over the state legislator positions. Now people are actually feeling some change. Something's actually happening that they can put their finger on. They can go to the county elections. The county board meeting and be like, I voted for him. I voted for her, right? You can't do that with the senator. There's two senators, they're voted on by the whole state. That's like going out and casting one mega millions ticket and wondering why you didn't win.
Exactly. So you're borrowing from the environmentalists. Think globally, act locally.
Yeah, you gotta look at who's winning. Like everything's a competition in life. Everything. I don't care how you want to look at it. Everything's a competition. So if you are training to be a top competitor, who do you look at? Do you look at the person who is the current champ and train to get there? Or do you look at the person 5 levels below you and train to stay ahead of them? No, you look at who's in first place and you see how they play. You dissect their game. How do they practice? How do they train? What do they eat? What supplements do they take? You tear all of that down. This is no different. The Republicans have taken over state legislatures across the country, and they did it under Barack Obama. Because when they lost that election, they went to work. They said, okay, he got through. We're not having that again. And from that day forward, they have had the state legislatures all across this country. They hold governors, the House and the Senate in each state. They got it down to the sheriffs and the district attorneys, and don't even touch the judges.
Oh my goodness, yes.
So that's where the fight is. And we have to understand, like now I'm going to intone Fred Hampton, you have to educate the people that you're trying to motivate. Stop just trying to get people to come do something for you. Show them how what they're doing is doing it for themselves. Because otherwise, you're just going to trade one dictator for another.
Exactly.
Teach these people. Let them know how things work. Let them actually look behind the curtain. And now when they go to help you vote out a district attorney or vote out the sheriff, because see, that's my problem, right? I'm tired of them eating up our children. I'm tired of them snatching our children up out these schools and putting them in these second chance schools and then putting them into jail. Right? You want to stop that? You get to the prosecutors and you change who they are. You want prisons to be better? You get to the sheriff. You change who it is. These are the people you can vote for. These are people you can change right now. You can't do nothing about Lindsey Graham.
You really can't. Because one, you don't live in South Carolina. The only 2 people I can do something about is Young and Braun. That's it. But I can do, yeah, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. And I think that was one of the reasons that I started. And I don't know what the name of this pack is going to be. It's not going to be called We Tired of This Mess. But that's what it's called on Facebook right now because I can't think of a name. But it's like all elections are local. And if we can get this stuff done locally, then it's like, well, federal people, you really don't have a choice because these movements are sweeping all across the country. So I definitely 1000% agree with you. Well, unfortunately, we are at the end. I didn't want to keep you as long as I did, but you had so many things that I just enjoyed talking to you about. Tell everybody how they can follow you on social media.
Well, first, thank you. Sorry, I run my mouth so much. I get kind of passionate and start just blah 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 all over the place. But you can find me on social media through Facebook, which is Complex Mind Simple Man. Um, if you search on YouTube, you can find me the same way, Complex Mind. If you search Complex Mind space Simple Man, you should be able to find my stuff. That's where you'll find our podcast where we talk about different issues affecting the Black community, as well as not just politics, but social dynamics as well. So that's where I'm at.
Okay, well, I definitely thank you for your time. I'm going to talk to the audience for the next 2 minutes solo. And I thank you, and I hope you can come back again sometime because I greatly enjoyed everything that you had to say.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you so much yet
So
again.
thank you. Have a great evening.
You too.
Bye bye. Okay, everybody, that was a great interview. So I want to talk about the next 2 minutes or so, try to keep this as brief as possible. So I've started a Facebook group called We're Tired of This Mess. And it's going to be a pack that encourages progressives to run for local offices. We're just in the beginning stage. The link hopefully will be in the description section of this um, broadcast on the replay. But if you want more information, you can always just click on that link, or you can always email me at tracymedia@gmail.com. I don't have an interview scheduled for next week, so if you want to come on and speak about your progressive views, I definitely would love to have you. This show comes on every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you, everyone that joined in. I'm sorry I didn't get to the comments today. Have a great evening. Have a great week. And we'll see you next week on Thursdays with Tracy. Bye-bye.